Good afternoon, Patriots. This is the American Vision, broadcast on the TLBTV network, and sponsored by and brought to you by the Liberty Beacon Project. I'm your host, Bill Muckler, and I'm the host of the American Vision. And what I'd like to talk to you about today, our subject will be social media. Now, just about every one of you are involved in social media in one way or another. You have accounts with Facebook, Twitter, various other social media sites. You're on LinkedIn. You're probably on one or more of these sites. And just recently, I joined a couple more sites that are dedicated to freedom of speech, Freedom Vine and Pro America Only. So what I want to do is talk to you about what social media really does for us and does to us. Take, for example, Twitter. We can get brief messages out pretty quickly, and we can see that some people, politicians like the president, they seem to do pretty well with that. I haven't had that much success with it because, quite frankly, I'm following about 5,000 people, and I've got about 2,500 followers. But there's a limit. I can't follow any more people, and typically, people don't want to follow you unless you're following them. So I'm at a point where I'm kind of stymied on that. And what happens is, the reason I say I haven't had too much success with that is when I go on to Twitter, there's so many tweets coming through that they just scroll down the list, and so I may tweet something, or I may read a tweet from someone else, and I may retweet it or whatever I'd like to do with it, and then I see, oh, I've got 37 more have passed me by, so it's hard to keep up with all because it moves very fast. On Facebook, it's more of a static type thing where, you can scroll down at your leisure and find what you want to find. Well, when I first went on Facebook, I went on at the suggestion of my brother, who said, hey, this would be a way where we can advance our family heritage project. He's very big into our ancestry and wanting to find more relatives and friends across the country, across the world. And we've done that. So I started out with that in mind, but then after I wrote my book, it got to a point where I realized I want people to know about my book. So I started telling people about my book, and that got me more friends, and it got me more likes. And for example, on my book page, 2020, A Clear Vision for America, I ended up with, I think I've got about 2,300 people have said they like my book. So that's kind of a neat thing. So while we're broadcasting from my home studio here in Cocoa, Florida, overlooking the Indian River and right across from Cape Kennedy, Cape Canaveral, where they launched the missiles, I wanted to bring out some things to you about Facebook that have been a problem for many people I know. I hear many people talking about the fact that they get put in Facebook jail and they're not allowed to post on Facebook. And it's true. And many of you probably haven't found that to be true because you haven't tried to maybe post some things like some of us have. Some of us are trying to perform, in a sense, an alternate media source where we're giving you news or analysis of the news, the current news of the day, and bringing things to you that you're not going to see on the mainstream media. So there's a lot of internet sites and a place to collect many of the information from those, or the articles from them, or the videos from them, happens on social media like Facebook. Now, I think I mentioned LinkedIn. Also, I see a lot of things on LinkedIn. It's anywhere from business announcements all the way to some political type stuff. Like I post my articles and videos on LinkedIn for my LinkedIn friends to see. And I guess I'm linked up with somewhere around 400 to 500, close to 500 members on LinkedIn. I've never been able to figure out exactly how to find out how many all the time. You have to go and search for that. So what about all these sites? Well, Facebook, for example, I have 5,000 friends. And so every day I want to wish my friends a birthday greeting. I like to wish them a very happy birthday. And Facebook promotes that. They want you to do that. In fact, you can go to Facebook and you can see up on that upper little bar that you can type in on the top, you can type in birthdays of my friends, and it'll show every one of your friends that has a birthday that day. So if I have 5,000 friends and there's 365 days in a year, it's pretty easy to calculate out that averages somewhere around 13 or 14 birthdays a day. And usually it runs anywhere from about 8 all the way up to 20. But normally it's 12 to 15 a day. So I want to wish every one of my friends a happy birthday. I like to do that. I like to wish happy birthdays of people, just like I would like to wish everybody a blessed Christmas and a happy and prosperous and safe and joyous New Year. That's just what I like to do. So on Facebook, when I start wishing happy birthday to my Facebook friends, just like Facebook wants me to do, and they make it possible for me to do because they list all the birthdays there of my friends for the day. When I get down through about 5 or 6, and I don't have a lot of time every day, so I try and be efficient and go through the list as efficiently and effectively as I can. Once I get to about 5 or 6, the 5th or 6th name on the list, Facebook blocks me out. Now, I don't have anything to show you on this, and I wish I did. I wish I'd taken a picture of them, because there's no way to save these things. What you have to do is take a picture of them with your camera. So that's what I did. I take pictures with my camera, if you can see my camera, and but I haven't got any of those. But what it forces me to do then is I have to fill out a caption. They've got all these squiggly lines, and they've got some letters and numbers buried inside of them. And I have to figure all that out. And so for every one of my Facebook friends that I still haven't gotten to, I have to fill out a CAPTCHA. And then it also gives me an option that if I'm seeing this and I have a question about this or a comment or a complaint about it or whatever it is, I can write to them. So I write to them, and I do that every day. And I've never got a response, and I've never gotten any relief because it still happens. So now let's talk about Facebook jail. This is kind of an interesting thing because there's so many people are getting locked out of Facebook, even though they're members of Facebook. Now, I realize we don't pay for Facebook. It's free to us, but we bombarded with the advertising, and that's what pays for it. And obviously, it's a multi-billion-dollar organization, so I guess they're doing pretty good on money. But apparently, they've worked it out with algorithms, and I'm sure they don't have they don't have people sitting back behind desks or in cubicles. They're going through every Facebook user and every Facebook post that they make, because that would be impossible. So they have a computer do this, and they've set up algorithms, and those algorithms are meant to catch keywords like conservative or Republican or judicial or anything that has to do with free speech or the Constitution or whatever. So anyway, what I'm going to do for you now, and just wanted to let you know that I am in Cocoa Beach, and let me see if I can find something here. Here we are. Actually, I'm not in Cocoa Beach. I'm in Cocoa, but nobody knows that there's a Cocoa and a Cocoa Beach. They're two separate places. We're pretty close together, but they're two separate places. They're across the river from us on the ocean, and we're on the river. So anyway, I'm going to give you some examples now of what we see. So let me look for one here, and let's see what this says here. I'm going to move out of the way, and when I see this, I'm looking at it backwards. So this is on Facebook, and you can see that it says your comment on Steve Snyder's post was marked as spam. Review the comment, I guess it says. And so you can see that I had something for Steve Snyder that was marked spam. Now, let me tell you, if you look back about 2 weeks ago, I did an interview with Steve Snyder, and we posted that on the internet on the TLBTV site, and also posted on my webpage. And the producers and graphics people and whatever at TLB, they entitled the show Learning from My Father, because he wrote this about his father, who was a World War II hero, who now, as a B-17 pilot who was shot down over a bombing run over Germany, is now also shot down as spam. So here's Steve Snyder's book, Shot Down. Now that's considered spam. I don't know why that's spam, other than maybe shot is one of the words that come out that means that this is spam. Well, that's very curious to me, because this book has won 25 awards. This is an excellent book. I read this book about a year ago, and I was so enthralled about it. Then when I finally was able to catch up with Steve, and we were able to find a time to sit down and do a chat on our TV show, I was just thrilled to death. And then I wanted to post the interview and the video for Steve so he could see it on Facebook. And Facebook said, it's spam. And you just read it. I just showed it to you on there. They said it's spam. See? It's marked as spam. And you can see up there, it says your comment on Steve Snyder's post. But that's okay. I emailed it to him, because we email back and forth. We've gotten to be pretty good buddies and everything. And so what I've done is I've forwarded that article to my Marine Corps League detachment, and they were thrilled to death to put it on their newsletter. And I sent it to the Brevard Memorial Veterans Memorial Center, and they do a newsletter. And I think they're going to link up the article in their newsletter next month. So obviously, there's some people that don't think this is spam, but Facebook does. And I know most of you are saying, oh, you're overreacting, or, you're making a big thing out of nothing. But this is happening to all of us that are trying to get the truth out to the people. And apparently, Facebook, Zuckerberg, doesn't want us to know that, because they're goats. You know what the goats are? They're the goofy Obama adoration team guys, as opposed to the rhinos, the really hypocritical, incompetent, nettlesome mouse. So anyway, the politicians don't like me, but that's okay. it's social media that I'm trying to work with to show people what we do. So, okay, so you say, well, that was just an isolated incident. Okay, let's go to another one here. Okay, here's a guy who's a veteran. His name is Dave Hill. And Dave, I hope you don't take offense to me using your name, but Dave Hill became a new friend of mine on Facebook because, Facebook friends come and go. And so, there's some turnover. And I get some new friends. And so I wanted to post something to him, and I wanted to send him an article. And it was an article about the Marine Corps. And I thought, that's a veteran, maybe he'd like to get see an example of what I write and, what my articles are like. And I thought, this one was of interest because it was about the Marines who were sacrificed themselves and were killed in Iraq, saving all the people in their barracks. So if you can see this, I'll kind of move my chair aside. It says your comment on Dave Hill's post was marked as spam. Review the comment. Well, if you go down the second one from the top, I did that, and it says 2 minutes ago or something like that. So then I thought, let me try it again. And I tried again, and I got exactly the same message both times. Now, I'm not a technical genius, and I don't know too much about all this social media stuff and Facebook. But as annoying as it is, and as devastating it is at times, I've found some ways to get around posting this stuff. I mean, it's almost like I'm feeling like I'm a backdoor hacker, and I wouldn't have any idea how to hack into anybody's backdoor or whatever. But anyway, so I do manage to get some of this stuff out. And I've only been in Facebook jail, I think, 3 times. And some people get put in for a month. They must really be doing some bad stuff. Most of the time, for me, it's just 3 days. So anyway, you can see what happened there. There's something that, just something I was trying to send to a new friend, and they marked that as spam. Okay, now let's go to something else here. Okay, here's a good one here. This is, I wanted to, I had a new article I wanted to post. And I wanted to post it on Facebook. I don't know how well you can see this. You can see that it's my Facebook page with a picture of me and everything. And when I went to post it, it says, sorry, this feature isn't available right now. Wow, isn't that special? It's not available right now. Well, that's another thing that happens when they don't say it's spam. They say this feature is not available right now. And then it says all something, I'm trying to read this upside down and backwards, comments. I can't read all, but maybe you all can read it. Please try again. Okay. So I try again and again, and I get the same result because every time I try to post my articles, this is what happens. It says, sorry. Well, sometimes it's marked as spam, and sometimes it's marked as this feature isn't available right now. So they won't let me do that. So that was an article I tried to post on there. And the reason for that is I don't know if you can, I'm in the way of this. If I can get over enough, you can see below that bar they put across there. The article was about politicians stealing from Americans. I wrote a 5-article series on Snap because it's fraught with fraud. Snap You can't believe what a corrupt system this is. And what we're doing is we're giving people money to go out and buy lobsters and steaks. And what got me on this is let me digress a little bit. On the radio, I'm listening to the news, and I hear commercials. And in Florida here, they're advertising for people to get onto food stamps, but now it's called SNAP, and they use EBT cards, electronic cards. So I hear all these things, and I'm thinking, this is such a good deal. Why do they need to advertise it? Well, I guess they're looking for more and more people to join, because the more people that join and apply for EBT cards for food stamps is what it used to be. They've got it streamlined now. It's the only thing the government has streamlined is the EBT cards. So they advertise this because the more people they can get on food stamps, the more money they can get out, the more corrupt they can be, the bigger the bureaucracy can be, and the bigger the bureaucracy, the bigger the fraud, the bigger the corruption. So that's what our government's all about today. And I hope that you people are starting to figure this out and starting to listen to guys like myself who have been studying this and have, seen the errors of the way. So anyway, I'm in the grocery store, and this has happened to me more than once, but I'll just give you one example. I got my stuff in my Publix cart, and I'm ready to put it on the counter, or on the conveyor, I guess you might say. But there's a young lady in front of me. I don't know. She's probably in her late 20s from the looks of her. And she's got all these items spread out on the conveyor. So there's no room for Bill to put his stuff on the conveyor. And she's trying to sort this out and put it into, not piles, but, put it in, separate it out. Because she's got 5 different EBT cards, and each one of them has only a certain amount of money left on them. And she's trying to figure out how to maximize her purchases for each EBT card. So on one card, she had $28. So she was trying to, arrange everything and sort it out into a group of products that came up to $28. And so this took more than a half an hour, and I'm standing there watching this, and I'm starting to get upset about it. But then I'm thinking, oh, I shouldn't really get upset about this. I should really try and learn from this. And so then I got home, and I thought, I really would like to know more about this. I thought I knew a lot, and I'd like to know more. So I got on the .gov sites where I always go to find out what they have to say. And I found several that I could get a lot of information from. Then I started Googling articles from everybody. And I go to the New York Times and Washington Post and the LA Times. I go to all the places where the liberals are, the leftists are, because I want to get their point of view on this. And then I want to analyze it and make up my own mind. So if people think that I'm just going to conservative sites or right-wing sites, that's not true. I'm trying to learn this stuff and research this stuff for you. So I thought, okay, I'm going to write an article on this. I had so much material I gathered together. I thought it's going to take more than one article. Well, anyway, I ended up with 5 articles. And so I started calling the articles, because the politicians are involved in this, politicians stealing from Americans. One of them was Americans stealing from Americans, because, that's what they're doing. Our own citizens are stealing money from us. And so anyway, you have to read the articles, but it's all about all the different groups of people that are stealing from Americans. So anyway, that's what this article was about. And of course, they didn't want to post that article. Now I've got another one I want to show you, and that's this one right here. And this was one of my videos. And here again, this is sorry. This feature isn't available right now. It's not available right now. And it says all something. An error occurred while processing this something. Please try again later. Okay, you guys can read that. I can't read it. It's upside down and backwards. That was a skill I used to have when I was a typographer. That's the way we had to read the type before we proofed it. So you can see this is another example of this. This is what I go through every day. So what do we do about this? Well, that's why I have a newsletter, and my newsletter, I'm getting up pretty close to 2,000 subscribers to it. And I would like to get more subscribers because they can't say there's an error occurred, or this is considered spam, or we're going to put you in email jail. So I have a mailing service that people subscribe to, and they can subscribe by going to my webs page, www.2020americabook.com. And the reason I say that is when I say www.2020americabook.com, people think they got to say TWENTY, but no, it's 2020. And so they can go there, and once they get to my web page, you can, it's got links to Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn and my email site, America book email site, and that's admin at 2020americabook.com. So we got all that stuff kind of down pat, that we're the American vision, and I have the American book, which is for the American people. And social media is supposed to be for the American people, but not really for all the American people, only for the American people who are goats. And you say, well, why am I still saying the goofy Obama adoration team? And it's because all the goats, they want Obama back because they adored him. He was their Messiah. He was the most wonderful thing that ever happened to him. There's going to be a lot of stuff comes out. You may not hear too much about it unless you go to articles like mine to find out what Obama was really all about, and how corrupt they were, and how they were spying on American people, and how they flaunted the Constitution all the while saying, oh, we love the Constitution, and everything we do is for the Constitution. So anyway, I think I've given you enough examples and enough flavor for you to know that this is really happening. And you probably don't believe me yet, but now hopefully you're starting to say, I wonder if this guy really is right about this. I wonder if this guy is onto something. Maybe he's trying to tell us something, but well, we got our paradigms, and our paradigm is if it's on Facebook, it must be right. If it's on the internet, it must be right. And I'm trying to say, wake up, America. I'm trying to enlighten you. I'm trying to let you know this is not all for freedom. Now, speaking of freedom, I wrote a book, 2020, A Clear Vision for America. And I used to sit here and I used to hold my book up before I got all this fancy stuff. And now I can click on this and I can show you my 2020 book. And when I wrote my 2020 book, I wrote, I had some principles, but one of them was, I don't have a slide for that right now, is I believe that what's best for we the people, us Americans and us taxpayers and us law-abiding citizen Americans, that a small, limited government close to home is best for we the people. Now, what do I mean by that? What I mean is our government should be small. It shouldn't be this big bureaucracy where we have more than 2,100 federal agencies that are writing regulations. That's too big. We don't need that big of a government. Those of us who are out here in the know, outside the Beltway. We don't need all that. And then when I say a limited government, I mean limited in power, that they should not have powers other than what's expressed in our Constitution. And then I say close to home, what I'm saying is the people here in my hometown and my county and state are better equipped and know more about how to govern our area than the people inside the Beltway do. Now, why doesn't that make sense to people? So if you say, yes, but I'm a liberal and I'm a goat and I'm a Democrat and, we're for diversity and we're for dreamers and we're for all these things. And I'm saying, but you're not for a small, limited government that's close to home. So how can you be against that? And how can you be for high taxes? And how can you be for let's give half the people everything that they want or they think they need, except for what they really need is a way to make themselves feel better about themselves, a way to contribute to their country, a way to feel like, they're important and they have a role in this whole idea and dream and vision we have that we call America, the American spirit. That's what our founders declared when they declared the independence, the Declaration of Independence. What they actually declared was the American spirit. And that's a spirit of responsibility and self-reliance and a spirit of let's take care of ourselves and our families and our friends and neighbors. We don't need the government to do that. And we're a charitable people, the most charitable people in the world. But the government wants us to give them money so they can pick and choose who to be charitable to. And so that's why my other thing was, where there is no vision, the people perish. That's from Proverbs. And what I did is I kind of stole that. I shouldn't have done that, I guess. God save me, I said, where there is no American vision, the American people will perish. Well, that is a little bit of plagiarism, but hey, at least it was my plagiarism. It's my creativity. It was my thought, because I really believe that if we don't have a vision for America, we're going to perish. And having a vision that says we got to let everybody come in this country and give them free stuff, that's not really a vision. That's a giveaway. That's making people dependent. And we don't want people to be dependent. Our founders didn't declare dependency. They didn't declare dependence. They declared independence. Why is that? Why am I having such a hard time getting that message across to people? So I wrote my book. It was based on that. And I worked out 20 of the gravest problems that America has. And I came up with 20 power-packed solutions that are based on common sense ideas. Common sense. Based on doing a cost-benefit analysis and root cause analysis and looking at the history of the issue and the background of the issue and studying it closely and analyzing it and coming up with solutions that were best for America, not best for this minority group or that special interest group or that political party. That's not what we should be about. We should be about what's best for America. And we're trying to get that across, and we're using social media as an avenue to do that, as a venue to do that. And it's really getting very difficult to do. So I wrote this book. So now I'm writing another book. I end up doing this TV show and writing articles and doing all the social media stuff. And I don't spend enough time writing my new book. But my new book is called 2020, A Clear Vision for Our Future. And it's written in the same style as 2020 Clear Vision for America, except I've added some more characters to it. And I did a Kickstarter campaign, and some people contributed money. And the reason they, that's a big thing now. It's like a GoFundMe or a Patreon or, all these different programs that they have. I happen to use Kickstarter. And so, you know, various levels, and people who gave more money got to be a character in the book. So I've added, you know, additional characters in the book to tell the story. And I'm writing the book in 3 parts. And the first part is our Constitution, restoring our Constitution. We don't need to rewrite the Constitution. We just need to learn it. So I've got my characters talking about the Constitution. They discuss the Constitution, and they talk about it in such a way in dialogue, just like you and I would talk when we were sitting in the living room visiting, or if we were sitting in a sports bar and talking or something like that, or you know, running each other, you know, out on, you know, on the sidewalk, taking a walk or something like that. So that's the way I wrote the book. So the entire Constitution is in part 1 of the book, and they discuss why each part of the Constitution, each article in the Constitution is important, and each one of the 27 amendments are important. And so, and I have chapters like the fabulous first. I bet you can figure out what that is. And the sacred second, you know, so that's what I'm talking about. And then the second part 2 of the book is respecting our culture, because we have a culture in this country, and we're losing that because we're saying, well, we have to have all these diverse cultures. Well, there's nothing wrong with people of different faiths and different origins and ethnic backgrounds, you know, practicing their culture, but it can't be exclusive, and it can't be a salad bowl. It has to be a melting pot where we blend everything together, and we're allowed to talk about and discuss all these various things. Hey, I like Mexican food, so you know, I'm told now that I'm a racist if I eat Mexican food. And I like Chinese food, and I'm anti-Asian if I like Chinese food and talk about it. And I really like Italian food, you know, but nobody's really gotten on me about the Italians. And I like German food too, and I guess Germans will be the ones that go next, you know, because nobody likes the Germans anymore. So, and we even have a pretty good French restaurant in Cocoa right here called Cafe Margot. So, you know, we like all that kind of stuff, all those different cultures and all the different celebrations and festivities and holidays and all that kind of stuff. But folks, what we have to do is we have to realize that we have to have one language, and that's English. And that's really what our culture is based on. If we are trying to speak more than one language, that divides the country, and we can't have a divided country. We got to be together, and that's all part of my book also. I explain how that is, and when you read this, you'll see, yeah, that makes sense. That's what we really need to do. That's what we need to be. And then part 3 of it is reclaiming our country, because we got to take our country back. There's no question about it. We got to take it back, because the people that are taking our country away from us are really, they're sending us down the wrong path. And think of it like this, like in the chapter I wrote about the budget. We don't have a budget for this country anymore, so our spending is crazy. Our spending is just, it's just out of sight. And so now we have more than $20 trillion in national debt. And they say, well, that's a good thing, and that doesn't make any difference, but you got to pay interest on that debt, and we're paying so much interest on the debt that we can't do things that really need to make America an exceptional country. And that's the theme of my book, Restoring American Exceptionalism. My book is a blueprint to restore American exceptionalism. So, and we talk about how to do that. So I have the issues and solutions for that. So my new book, 2020 Clear Vision for Our Future, is almost like a sequel, or explaining why 2020 Clear Vision for America, those 20 solutions and 20 issues, 20 solutions, are so critical to make America an exceptional country, or if we want to go by Trump's slogan, "Make America Great Again." I wish we had somebody that would start thinking, like we the people are really important, that we're the ones who are the backbone of this country, and start respecting how great our founding fathers were, and quit calling them racist and saying that they were, cultural. I don't want to say that. I'm going to get in trouble. And I know some of my viewers are going to say, "Oh, you don't understand how bad those people were, how evil they were." Hey, they lived in the culture of that day, and we corrected that. We changed that. And as we grew, but we have to start thinking about what's best for all Americans, not what's best for this minority or that special interest group or that particular religion or whatever it might be. We got to start thinking about what is the best thing for America, because America can't be divided and still be a strong, successful country. And I look at our country as being a spirit. It's not a giveaway. It's not a place where we make dependence. It's a place where we use our independence to give us our freedom and our liberty. So social media, I talked about that, and I talked about how we like to use that, but unfortunately we can't use it because they're locking us out. They're putting us in Facebook jail, and they do the same thing to me on Twitter. After I send my articles to like maybe 3 people, then they shut me down. They say, you can't do that. They don't call it spam necessarily, but they just lock me out. Okay, folks, thanks for joining me and having listen to my rant, and hopefully every one of you is enjoying the new economic progress the country is making, and I hope you continue to thank our Lord and Savior for all the blessings He's given us in this country. So, boys and girls, I'll end like I usually do by telling you that where there is no vision, the people perish. Where there is no vision, the people perish. That's Proverbs 29:18. And go out, have a good time, enjoy yourselves, take care of your families, your kids, your grandkids, love them all to death. And God bless every one of you. God bless America. And as one of the early printers said in 1776, God save our America. And the reason I say God save our America is because we need you now more than ever before.